Paddlers make a leap of faith when they launch a canoe into something called the Winchester Wasteway. No, this isn't a Central Washington graveyard for old hunting rifles or a channel for sewage. You'd think the Moses Lake area tourism folks would come up with a more appropriate title for a paddling dream trip through the desert. Irrigation runoff from Columbia Basin farms formed this mostly natural waterway, which carves its way through sand dunes before emptying into Potholes Reservoir. A tall, eye-catching, invasive reedgrass called Phragmites threatened to choke the wasteway until State Fish and Wildlife Department workers began spraying and burning the weed a couple of years ago. It's of little value to wildlife, and it's a major threat to the ecosystem. But watch out for the shores where Phragmites has been nuked, or be ready to rescue partners who pull in for a pet stop and get stuck in the mud. The dunes above the Serpentine Wasteway are premier camping spots. Game trails lead out into the desert where you'll discover a highway of critter tracks and ponds teeming with waterfowl, and leftovers from the occasional duck hunting blind. The best part of the day often comes at night, under the canopy of stars that never fails to inspire a coyote concert in the desert. Your tent is a front row seat for the serenade. While paddlers don't seem to be a natural fit in the desert, neither do beavers. But beavers are as comfortable along the Wasteway as tourists in Palm Springs. They've built lodges around every bend, and some of the beaver slides drop 50 feet or more from the high dunes where they go to feed. Waterfowl are constantly flushing, skittering, and chattering along the Wasteway during spring. Mallards and coots are most obvious, but keep your ears open for migrating tundra swans and sandhill cranes. And keep your eyes open for the smaller creatures like muskrats and the little marsh wrens that hang nests in the bulrushes. When your paddling partner yells, "Duck!" he might not be talking about waterfowl. The Wasteway is constantly changing, and debris can droop over and jam the channel. Sunglasses help protect eyes from the nasty Russian olive thorns. Sometimes paddlers have to portage around a jam. Consider that when choosing your footwear. Most of the time, a canoe can be coaxed through the snarls, especially when bow and stern work together with deft sweeps, pries, and draws of their paddles. Occasionally, the Wasteway sprawls into shallow, carp-infested mudflats, where a paddler's only option is to get out and walk, or sweet-talk your buddy into doing the work. Wide spots and blind corridors challenge paddlers to stir the mud or look for movement of the reeds that can indicate the flow of the Wasteway channel. Narrow spots can channel the water into stream-like flows that can be challenging, but most of the Wasteway is canoeable, that is, except for the falls. Where the Winchester Wasteway empties into Potholes Reservoir, paddlers must haul their canoes around a two-stage 20-foot waterfall. Years ago, this was an open sand dune portage, but brush has emerged to change the experience. This photo, taken in 1995, illustrates how erosion has changed the waterfall itself over the years, when compared with this photo taken in 2010. Veteran Wasteway paddlers can't help but check it out closely before heading out on the last stage of every trip. Completing the entire Winchester Wasteway requires finding the route out through the sand dunes and into the exposure of Potholes Reservoir. This can be dangerous in windy conditions, but if you luck out with the weather, canoeing partners can hit an efficient rhythm toward a picture-perfect flatwater ending signaled by the towering poplars at Potholes State Park. This is Rich Landers for Spokesman.com.